A Queensland MP, George Robert Christensen, has urged citizens to oppose coronavirus lockdowns and mandatory vaccinations. He compared governments that enact such policies to totalitarian regimes that commit the most heinous crimes. George Robert Christensen emphasized that totalitarian governments like Stalin's, Mao's, Hitler's, and Pol Pot's, which were responsible for the most terrible atrocities of the 20th century, did not emerge from nowhere. They used fear to maintain power, excluding dirty people softly at first, justifying the exclusion, increasing the severity of the exclusion, and eventually eliminating them socially or physically. We are unquestionably on the road to totalitarianism, which never ends well, according to the MP. The remedy is a rediscovery of human dignity, as well as civil disobedience, and I don't say that lightly. Christensen said in Parliament that Australian state premiers are drunk on power and trying to out-tyrant each other. He also noted that non-vaccinated Australians are increasingly demonized, ostracized, and socially eradicated. The establishment argues that the infection has spread to the unvaccinated, but Christensen claims that such demonization is unjustified. According to a German study, 55% of symptomatic individuals over the age of 60 are fully vaccinated. In Gibraltar, where all 34,000 residents have been fully vaccinated, 60 new cases are registered daily. And despite its high vaccination rate, Gibraltar has cancelled official Christmas celebrations for this year. The Liberal Party of Australia MP, George Robert Christensen, made an impassionate speech to the Australia Parliament, and calls on citizens to revolt.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The totalitarian regimes responsible for the most heinous atrocities in the 20th century, think Stalin, Mao, Hitler, Pol Pot, they didn't get there overnight. They used fear to control, they excluded the dirty people, softly at first, they justified the exclusion, they moved to harder exclusions and eventually eliminated people, either socially or physically. In 21st century Australia, state premiers are racing down that familiar path, trying to out-tyrant each other, drunk on power, setting up their own biosecurity police states, complete with medical apartheid. Sadly, we've enabled it, refusing to rein them in, and worse, supplying the Australian immunisation register data that underpins this medical apartheid. Fear is the justification of choice for coercion and control, with non-vaccinated Australians increasingly demonised, ostracised and socially eradicated. In Queensland, the Premier tweeted that people not vaccinated raised red flags, not just one, but 22 of them. The media, politicians and health bureaucrats all claim COVID-19 is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated, but there is no justification for such demonisation. In a German study, 55% of symptomatic patients over 60 were fully vaccinated. Gibraltar, where all 34,000 residents are fully vaccinated, is recording 60 new cases a day. The totalitarian path, the path that we are unquestionably on, has never ended well. The solution is a rediscovery of human dignity, along with, and I don't say this lightly, civil disobedience.
In January 2020, 94-year-old Auschwitz survivor Marian Tursky gave a speech during the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the camp's liberation. The Polish Holocaust survivor reminded the audience that the Holocaust didn't start with death camps. Instead, it began with propaganda, scaremongering, scapegoating, and segregation. Unfortunately, history may be about to repeat itself, considering the rhetoric of the German state-funded media correspondence journalist, Sarah Fruhauf. The German journalist attacked unvaccinated people in a televised broadcast and called for mandatory vaccinations. She accused the unvaccinated of mass murder, claiming that they are responsible for the thousands of lost lives during this wave of corona. She added that all those who refuse to get vaccinated have to live with the rebuke that they are to blame for the present situation. Fruhauf's harmful, non-scientific attacks are precisely how society is segregated, leading to genocides. Labeling people, the unvaccinated, as scapegoats, disease suppliers, quite frankly, is dangerous. There are numerous irrefutable examples of the genocidal script, all of which begin with dehumanizing the offending populace on political and social levels. Please leave your comments below on what you think. Also, please like or dislike the video, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be notified when we post new videos. Thank you.